Right, everybody. Good morning. Welcome to the London session again. So let's get into it actually. What do we have happening right now in the market? All right, so a quick one. Yesterday, I took a trade yesterday, and honestly, the funny thing right now is that the trade would have still been in profit by now, if not because where I placed the stop loss yesterday wasn't the best, right? So, and the reason why, what happened was that when I entered the trade yesterday, the price gapped up, right? And then, so when I entered the trade, it was around somewhere, I think somewhere at the top here. Then by the time I set a 100-point stop, which is the 2% loss we're looking at, the price, the stop loss level, was quickly hit, and then even though the level itself where the stop loss is supposed to be, which is below the this demand zone, right, was not hit, right? So we stop out, and it's not good, but it is what it is. It's part of trading. It happens, and it is what it is. So I took a loss yesterday, and it shouldn't have been a loss. So but that's fine. So today we are going to reduce the risk that we're going to be using on the challenge account, right? So we're going to reduce the amount of risk that we'll be putting to the trade. So now today though, let's run through the analysis of today and quickly know what NASDAQ is potentially going to do. Then let's also check the news that's happening today. Whoa, there's a lot of news happening today, right? But for USD news at 2:30, we have the GDP data coming out, and we also have the PMI data coming out. So there is two major news happening today, 2:30 and 3:45. So while we're trading NASDAQ, we're going to be careful around this time so that we, have the best trading experience. All right, let's run through the analysis quickly. So this is the all right, this is the 4-hour. 4-hour is still the same as what we have been looking at before, right? So we still have this resistance level over here, and it's still holding. The extreme demand level over here also is still holding. So for now, it's just for us to see what price gonna do in those levels. And my expectation now is that NASDAQ would from here potentially go here, pull back to then go higher, right? Like that's my expectation for NASDAQ on 4-hour. So on 15 minutes, so on 4-hour, the direction to me is still bullish. So I'm going to be looking for buys on the smaller time frame. Now though, let's mark our previous day highs and previous day lows here. So this is where the previous day high is, this one, and this is where the previous day low is, right here. My previous day low is the lowest point that price was yesterday. So the previous day high is here, meaning the highest points that NASDAQ reached yesterday, and the lowest points that NASDAQ reached yesterday is somewhere here, right? So that is the lowest point. Now that we know the range of the previous day, we need to also know what is the current Asian range that we're dealing with, right? And so now we can see this is the Asian range from this blue line to this line. This is the Asian range. Price is still inside of the range, so we need to see a breakout of the Asian range first, and we can know which direction that NASDAQ is going to go today. But there's my prediction. Now below the Asian range, there's a demand level that is holding, which is still in relation to the demand zone that we have yesterday. Although now there's something interesting about this demand zone below the Asian range. There is previous day low immediately after it, like this. This is the previous day low now, and there is this demand zone that is right here, that NASDAQ may potentially want to come to for us to take a trade. So if until New York session today, NASDAQ did not break out to the upside of the Asian range, like if NASDAQ break out like this, then the pullback doesn't necessarily need to hit the second demand zone, this one. So it can just reach the first demand zone, which is this one here, and then we can take a buy from there. But if by New York session, NASDAQ did not break to the upside, if it breaks to the downside, then we have to be waiting at the second demand zone, because very much likely they will take all the liquidity at the lows here. And honestly, with that, that's like rapid fire, very quick analysis and outlook, because that's exactly what NASDAQ has to do. Two things: either it breaks to the upside on the Asian range, which in this case is also a good confirmation for us. We just need to see a pullback and we're going to be taking the trade. Or number two, we need to see it break downward into the demand zone and then go back into the next demand zone, and then we can take a trade from the next demand zone, right? So this is basically what we're going to be looking out for today. And with that, I think that's just going to be it. As usual, London session, I just come and analyze what I can see on NASDAQ happening, and then I come and trade it in the New York session. Although most of the time I have to analyze on a New York session, but that's fine. I love coming in London session to see what it is doing and then prepare my mind ahead. And between London and New York, once I close the chart now, I'm not going to look at it again so that I don't have an impulse decision, right? So I'm just going to leave it to do its thing. By New York session, I'm going to come here and I'm going to look for the trading opportunity that I actually want to take. So with that, that's going to be the analysis for London session. To recap, we're still looking for buys on NASDAQ, and I'm waiting for price to break out of the Asian range, either to the upside or to the downside, right? And whichever one happens, there is different scenario. There's different conditions for what we're going to do. If it breaks to the downside, we need to wait for NASDAQ to get to the second demand zone. If it breaks to the upside, then we need to wait for a pullback before we join the buy again. All right. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming again to the live today. If you have any question, you can always leave it in the comment section, or also ask joining the Telegram channel, and we're going to cover it together. Thank you for coming. Happy and safe trading, everyone. Bye bye for now.